Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I am so excited to talk about OpenAI's newest model release, o1. So o1 is a reasoning model, meaning it will think before answering your questions. Okay, so OpenAI released two models. There's the o1 preview, which is to preview new features in the o1 model, and the o1-mini, which is smaller and faster model trained on similar framework as o1. So in my previous video, we looked at how the o1 preview model helped us to design our star schema by identifying our fact and dimension tables. So in today's video, we're going to move on in regards to the PowerBI workflow. We're going to go look at how we can import our data, which in our example is a CSV file, how we're going to import the data using the M code. Okay, so we're going to ask the o1 model, and this time we'll use the mini model, the o1-mini model, to generate some M code for us and import our data into PowerBI, including our fact and dimension tables. Okay, so according to OpenAI's documentation, it states that the OpenAI o1-mini excels at STEM, so especially math and coding. Okay, so the M code generation and DEX generation fits right into everything that's coding and math. So we'll see how good the o1-mini model is. So let's check that out now. So over to ChatGPT now. I've opened the same chat session as in the previous video, where we with the help of the model, we designed the star schema by identifying the fact and the dimension tables. Now from here, I'll just change over to the o1-mini. Okay, and the aim is for us to generate some M code. Okay, so let's put in our prompt. Okay, so here is my prompt. Can you generate the M code to import my data set into PowerBI, please? The file path is, and I've given the file path. Okay, so let's see how the o1-mini model is able to help us with that. So okay, so this is my prompt and this is the result. Thought for a couple of seconds. Let's see the thought process. So it's preparing the data. I've identified the requirement to import a CSV into PowerBI and define the necessary M code to read the CSV and establish fact and dimension tables. Okay, so that's awesome. Skirting relationships. So PowerBI typically thrives on relationships for data modeling. Integration with M code, it's more about data transformation, focusing on step-by-step scripts to create and quantify entities effectively. Okay, so that was the thought process. Remember that the o1 model series are reasoning models, right? So they will think through, it will think through the steps needed to get the job done or to complete the task. Okay, so this, in terms of my prompt here, this is the thought process. So, and then we see the reply. See if I'll just close up on that. So absolutely, I can help you generate the M code to import your data set into PowerBI and structure it into fact and dimension tables as identified earlier. Okay, so let's see. Below you'll find step-by-step instructions along with the corresponding M code for each table. Okay, let's have a look at that. Importing the CSV, create the dimension tables, create the fact tables, and establish the relationships. Okay, so let's see the M code to import the CSV data. Okay, import the CSV data. First, you'll import your CSV into PowerBI using the file. Okay, and then this is the M code for that. That's the main source query. So note this code should be placed in a new query, for example, source data, to do this. So it has given us the steps now to how to go about to doing that in PowerBI. So that's awesome. Okay, next up we've got create dimension tables. So now these are the M code for all our dimension tables, starting off with the date dimension. Okay, one thing to note as well, you see the source data, so it's very important that you name the query as the source data. Okay, because all subsequent dimension tables, they will reference the source data, the name of the main query here. Okay, let's go through. We've got the business line dimension. That's awesome. The expense subgroup, the revenue expense dimension, okay, with the corresponding explanation on how to create this query in Power BI. Okay, and finally the create the fact table M code. Okay, and then it has also given us some advice on how to create the relationship between them. So after loading all the tables, it's essential to establish relationships between the fact and dimension tables to enable effective data modeling. Okay, and where exactly in Power BI desktop? It says go to the model view in Power BI desktop. Okay, so that's awesome. Create the relationships, and then it is also given you or given us the columns on which to base the relationships on. So the fact table and the date dimension with the name of the columns, the business line, the expense subgroup, the revenue expense, etc. Okay, so that's awesome. That's awesome. And this is just the full M code summary. Let's go right down and some final notes, how to refresh the data integrity and all that. Okay, so let's copy this M code into Power Query and let's see if it's correct. So import the CSV data, that's our main source query. So let's copy that. Okay, so in Power BI desktop, as usual, we go into transform data to open up the Power Query editor, and let's select a blank query. Okay, let's click on advanced editor, and we'll paste in the code that was generated for us by the model, and let's go done. Let's see if there's some errors. There's some errors in there. Let's see what it is. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Actually it was missing the let and the in keywords. If we go back to ChatGPT, you'll see that it just gave us the M code, but not the keywords, and not the keywords let and in. Okay, so if we copy and paste, so I just copied and pasted the code that was given, and if I click done, and you see, wonderful, the data has been imported automatically. But we see something here that the first line has to be the column names. Okay, so I'll just click on use first row as the header. Okay, but I think this is still good enough. So let's continue on with the other M code to create the date dimension. Okay, so let's click on copy code, and this time it has done a good job. It has given us the let and in keyword. So let's just copy that over to Power BI. We have to at least rename our query, the source query, as data source. So that's what we'll do first. Let's just rename that to data source. Okay, so next up, let's copy our date dimension, PM code for date dimension, and let's paste it directly into our blank query, advanced editor. Okay, we don't need the date dim actually, and let's click on OK. And beautiful, we have our date dimension, and it has advised us to give the name date dim. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Double click and rename our query. Okay, moving on. Let's go over to our business line dimension. We'll do the same thing. We'll just copy it from let's just say copy code very quickly. Not the text. We'll go over to a blank query, and then advanced editor. Let's remove that. That's the name of the query actually. Okay, that looks good. Then moving on, business line, business subgroup dimension. Okay, and then expense group, dim. Okay, it's giving a red line on the revenue. Just click done. Okay, so in terms of the error, I copied the entire M code, and I also noted the error, sent it back to ChatGPT. It identified the root cause, proposed me a solution, and copying and pasting this new code into Power BI corrected the issue. Okay, so this is the M code for that. So the issue was with the column names. Actually, previously just had these brackets here, but we had to also add these characters here. Okay, so I mean, whenever there's an error, like it's gonna be an iterative process between ChatGPT and your Power BI project to correct the issue. Okay, before ending the video, I'd just like to quickly note the fact that in regards to the dimension tables, if I'll just open the dimension table for the business line, the query editor for the business line dimension, I like the fact that it has identified that it's a dimension table, so it has removed like other columns, and it has removed also the duplicate values. So these are the steps that I usually do when I create a dimension table from the source data. Okay, so it has automatically done that itself without me telling it to remove the duplicate values. Okay, so it understood that actually it's a dimension table, and it should contain just distinct values in the dimension table. So I think that's really cool. So I'll end the video here. So in a future video, we look at how to create the relationship based on what it has advised us here, and we'll also look into how it's going to help us with the DEX calculations. Okay, so I'm very excited about this new model, and I'm looking forward to all the projects that I can do with it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video.